Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Forsyth County Connections, coming to you once again from the Cable 2 studios, part of the once the same Forsyth County school system, and we appreciate their hospitality to let us be here. Now, we have a lot coming up over the half hour. We're going to get into everything and all sorts of things. We'll do, talk about surplus equipment. We'll talk about an aquatics center. We'll talk about how to avoid getting bitten by mosquitoes and what the county's doing to help you with that. I mean, all sorts of things. But where we want to start is talking about a very serious topic, which we've covered before in the first phase, and that's the ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, and the funding that's being spent through those federal dollars. With me now, Kyle Haney, Director of Community and Economic Development for the county. Good to see you.
Great to see you as well.
What's going on with ARPA, and how is the county, how have they used the money already?
Yeah, absolutely. So the county received this money through the American Rescue Plan Act, which was a congressional bill passed in March of 2021 to respond to the pandemic. The county got out there and put a public application out so that organizations in this community could apply to do transformational work in this community. We funded 34 different projects in that first round, a total of about $27 million, and it's everything from working to help get people access to workforce development system, to working on substance abuse. It's the whole gamut, really, to try to make a transformational change in the community.
Were these private companies, or do they have to be government agencies or nonprofits, or what?
That's a great question. We got there really early when we didn't have all of the rules around this, and so in the first round we had opened up to everybody. Well, we soon learned that really it's for nonprofits and government agencies. So for this round, you're going to have to be a nonprofit or government agency.
You have to be. Now, is that the only difference between what was round one and now round two coming up, or is there anything else we should know about the funding for round two?
That's a great question as well. So there's several key changes that we've made, and essentially because we learned a lot from round one. We got our public application out there before any other entity that I know of, because there's a deadline of December 31st, 2024 to spend these funds. And our commissioners wanted to make sure that we got the money out into the community and made that impact while we could. So we learned a lot from the first round. So you have to be a nonprofit agency or government. Also, there are a number of forms and policies that we're requiring in this round that will help us speed up that process once we do award of getting to contract. As well.
Yeah, and I think the process is good, not only in speeding it up, but you're also learning more about the applicants and people to make sure that the money's being spent the right way, which brings me to this question. Have you folks in your department or the county commissioners, I know you can't speak for all the county commissioners, but have you pretty much formed a plan of saying, hey, these are the kind of things we would like to spend round two money on? Do you have a wish list, or do you have a strategy?
Absolutely. So we went to the county commissioners after round one and got some feedback about what they were looking for. I mean, I think one of the things that is really clear is, they're open to all types of transformational programs that can really make an impact on this community as long as they meet the guidelines. But the things that they focus on, where they want sustainable projects, where once we put these funds in, once these funds are gone, we're going to continue to be able to make that difference. And they want them to be high impact, and they want them to align with the county services we already provide as well.
Now, you talked about December of 2024 is when the money has to be spent by, but is there a timeline for, let's say I run a nonprofit agency or something, do I have a deadline to get an application in?
Absolutely. So this second round is open, and it's open now. It's open through June 10th. One thing that is different from round one as well is that we are requiring attendance at an informational session. We have those both virtually, and we're setting them up in person. You can find that information on the county's ARPA website. But June 10th at 5 p.m. is when the deadline is to apply for this round.
June 10th of this year, 2022, 5 p.m. And these sessions are important too, again, because I might think that I've got this really great thing that I can get money for, and then find out through the informational session maybe I don't qualify. So.
That's absolutely right. That's exactly why we're doing them. We respect all the organizations who are trying to make a difference in this community, and we don't want to waste their time. So we're requiring these so that we can really be clear about what the eligibility requires. So
that's a good idea. Is there a website or any place people can go for information to learn more?
Absolutely. If you go to the county's main website, forsyth.cc, there's a big button up top that says American Rescue Plan Act. Click there, and it's got information about round one and round two.
Kyle, I appreciate all you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
DEPR.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale. Bipolar? Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment.
Anxiety. I thought so.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Back now on Forsyth County Connections, and I want to learn about mosquitoes. I don't want to be bitten by them, but I want to learn about them. So I brought in an expert in the field. Ryan Harrison's Vector Control Specialist for Forsyth County Department of Public Health. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Before I get into this whole mosquito thing, what is vector control? Just tell us.
Well, vector control is not really, it's kind of like mosquito control, but we're not really trying to control all the mosquitoes. We only really want to affect the mosquitoes that have the potential to transmit diseases in people's yards. So no, we're not going to do a whole lot for nuisance mosquitoes other than educating people on repellents.
And so you guys know that, I mean, because this is serious. I mean, we kid around sometimes, but it's serious. They can transmit some very serious diseases, and not all the mosquitoes do that.
Yes.
Is it true? I think you sent me an email one day and said we need to mention that is it true that only female mosquitoes bite, or was I reading that wrong?
That's correct. The females mosquitoes have to take a blood meal in order to protect their eggs. Once they lay their eggs, the eggs will harden, and that blood is used to harden the shell of their eggs.
Just the female mosquitoes bite. Now, what's the best way to prevent the mosquitoes from hanging around the house and yard? I mean, I've seen commercials and online things about get this thing, it'll buzz, and get this thing, it's a light, and get this thing, or spray this thing.
Well, you know, there's a lot of things out there, but the best way to prevent mosquitoes is to make sure you have zero standing water around your property. And that includes underground standing water in black corrugated pipes coming off your gutters. You got to unclog your gutters. You know, just some basic cosmetic maintenance. You want to make sure there's no water standing at least once a week, because it only takes about a week for them to go from egg to adult in the summer.
Wow. Now, once you already have them there, though, and you're trying to deal with it, what's the best way to avoid getting bitten?
That's a good question. One of the ways you can do that is just time. Go outside at the appropriate times. Unfortunately, we do have some daytime feeding mosquitoes like the Asian tiger mosquito, and the best way to protect yourself against that is to just use repellents. And you can go on the CDC's webpage and get the list of all the best repellents that you can use that are available to the public.
What's the #1 pest mosquito, would you say?
That would be the Asian tiger mosquito. That's about 90% of our complaints here in Forsyth County, and they breed in just about everybody's backyard. And they can breed in just a little bit of water, maybe even just an ounce of water.
Are they the ones that carry one of the serious diseases, or they're just nuisance?
Well, we're very fortunate in this country that this mosquito does not carry many diseases. In other parts of the world it does, but we're very fortunate here that it's just primarily a nuisance mosquito.
We didn't rehearse this or anything, but I was curious, is there a way to identify by sight that, well, this mosquito, he's just a pest, I don't want him to bite me, but this one over here, he could give me West Nile disease or something. Is there a way to identify that?
Really, we have to use microscopes, and we have to use 80 to 90 times magnification to really pinpoint what they are. That's a big part of our time when we're trying to sort through mosquitoes that we test for viruses and things like that.
Yeah. I was just wondering, Ryan, is there a general website or anything that people can go to learn more about what's going on with vector control? Or?
Well, the Centers for Disease Control has a lot of great information about mosquito repellents, how to protect yourself from being bitten at different times of the day. And they have a great amount of information on all the diseases that are around that mosquitoes can transmit.
What about just go to the public health website?
Yes, you can go to Forsyth County Department of Public Health, and that will allow you to get in touch with us. And if you have any questions, they can reach out to us anywhere.
How did you get into this line of work? I'm just curious.
I've been doing this since I was a child. My father was an entomologist, and I was bait when I was a kid. So he would collect mosquitoes.
He let you get
Yes,
bitten
yeah.
so he could study it.
Yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
So I've been, my
I
first
think they would arrest him for that now, wouldn't they?
my first job was actually working with mosquitoes. So when I was about 14, I was separating larvae and pupa from
Right.
different mosquitoes from Egypt. Yeah.
Golly. Well, that's pretty fascinating. But on behalf of everybody in the county, though, I appreciate that you're doing what you're doing, because it's important work.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back after this.
This is what too much sounds like. This is what stress feels like. And this is what help feels like. If you've lost a job, worry about your next meal, or have trouble making it through the day, we can help. Text STRESS to 211-211 to find a solution.
Back now on Forsyth County Connections, and if you're like me, you've had special memories at a library when you were growing up as a kid. I grew up a million years ago and always went to the main library in Forsyth County. And back then there was no Google or internet or anything. You go in there and read and get your research materials and whatever. Well, things have advanced a lot. But I want to find out more about what's going on, particularly as we get towards summer and talk about a summer reading program. And we do it with an expert in the field. Bryan Hart's with us right now. He's Director of Libraries for Forsyth County Public Library. Good to see you, sir.
Likewise, thank you for having me.
What is I don't think I've ever asked anybody this. What's the mission of the public library? Can you state that just to get us going?
Yeah, actually, absolutely. Excuse me. We serve, empower, and connect the community. We focus a lot of our efforts on serving as a bridge for community members in order to connect them with resources and information that they need to advance their lives and to advance their goals or their pursuit of their goals.
And people of all ages.
People of all ages, absolutely. We are really excited about the work that we're able to do as an integral part of this community, connecting people to resources and serving them and meeting them where they are, in a sense.
Yeah, we were talking about off camera. You had a gentleman, you said in his 90s, that got his first library card not too long ago. And it's fascinating that people have so many resources they can take advantage of. Now, let's talk about this year's summer reading program.
Absolutely.
What is it, first of all, and how does it relate to your overall mission?
Absolutely. So summer reading is, many of our staff equate summer reading to, it's the library school year, essentially, because we have an influx of children and families who visit all 10 of our locations to receive information, resources, and take part in some of the very experiential learning opportunities that we make available. I say that many of our staff equate it to our school year because we're particularly busy during the summer months supporting children and families to make sure that the information that they spent the previous 9 months obtaining is not lost. We want to make sure that they have resources and information to do further exploration and also retain information and skills that they've developed over the course of the year. And so the summer reading program is something that we're very happy about and look forward to offering a program this year that is very much so tailored to the needs, interests, and direction of our community.
You've probably just answered this question in a sense, but I'm curious because you have so many programs throughout the year. There's so much going on. Why would you say the summer reading program is kind of unique? Why is it so unique or different from all the things you do year round?
Sure, absolutely. So this year in particular is going to be unique because every year the summer reading program, which is really a larger initiative that has a lot of secondary programs and events underneath this larger umbrella. And so every year there's a theme. Sometimes it focuses on animals and nature. Sometimes it focuses on technology or career and workforce development. This year, because we are doubling down on our efforts to connect with the community, our summer reading theme is a breath of fresh air. Okay. And because we love acronyms, AIR in this case is an acronym that stands for Arts, Innovation, and Reading. Okay. And being headquartered in the City of Arts and Innovation, we feel like there's clearly a unique tie-in there. And to expound on that and answer your question more directly, when you say what makes it unique, is that we have a incentivized kind of a program. So not only are we challenging and encouraging people of all ages to come in and read and participate in other activities that we have built in throughout the program, so that they can receive rewards and things of that nature. But we're also, incentivizing program attendance because we know that we have a slate of programs and events planned for them that is probably unmatched by any other organization in the county.
I just think that's great. Now, before we run out of time here, any other big events or activities or anything coming up in the year that you wanted to plug?
Absolutely. There's two if we have time to do so. One would be our quarterly magazine, Intersections. That is a publication that we're really proud of. It's an award-winning publication at this point, as it won an award from the NC Public Library Directors Association.
And I can get that at the branches.
You can certainly pick that up at any of our branches, and even some of our participating or partnering agencies have it. The last thing that I would plug is, which will kind of be somewhat of a scoop for you, is that we are in the early beginnings of launching an Artist in Residence program. We'll be working with the Arts Council to establish some of the parameters of that, and we're going to be accepting applications from artists of all types through the end of August. That application will open up sometime in the beginning of June.
Do you consider talk show host artists?
I do.
No,
I do.
I'm just teasing with you.
Please apply.
Anyway, that's right. All right, Bryan, thanks for all you do. And
Likewise,
folks, check out the library website, learn more about it, and hope to get you back sometime.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll be right back after this.
I keep hearing how things are getting back to normal. Is this normal? So much has changed. It's time to discover the new person I am now. For some great tips on finding your new normal, visit yourlifeyourvoice.org.
There's so much to see in this life's journey, and the view just keeps getting better. But untreated hearing loss can put us at risk for missing out. Stay connected so you can keep doing what you love. Get a hearing health check every year.
Back on Forsyth County Connections, we have a return visitor to the show. He's brave enough to show up again, and we're glad he's here. Kirby Robinson, Deputy Director of General Services for Forsyth County. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah. Now, I find this topic interesting because I want to learn more about it. We've talked before in the past about surplus property, but before I get to something specific, what's the county's overall approach to managing surplus personal property?
Yeah, well, I appreciate the question. So, I mean, as you can imagine, the county's a big place. You know, we've got 36 departments, got over 2,000 employees, and with that many people comes a lot of stuff, right? So General Services, where I work, our mission is to help departments manage their surplus personal property, which is, you know, furniture, fixtures, and equipment they don't necessarily need anymore, right?
Okay.
So, you know, our goal is to manage that in accordance with the law, but ultimately we're trying to repurpose and reuse that property as much as we can within the larger organization.
So say a department downsizes and they say, Kirby, we've got 15 extra desks. Now, do you immediately, I mean, can the public buy those kind of things, or is it just sort of interdepartmental thing, like another department needs those desks?
It's a great, good question as well. So it may eventually get to the point where the general public can purchase it. Before it does, again, we're trying to repurpose within the organization because that creates savings. So we've developed a program called Fred's List.
Fred's List.
Fred's List, yes, sir. Stands for Forsyth Repurposing Equipment and Distribution Service.
Okay.
It's basically like an online marketplace. And so let's say you have your department, they've got their 15 chairs they don't need anymore. They can actually go on this thing and list those chairs for sale for $0. And another department in the county might need 15 chairs. They can go on there and order them for $0.
Wow.
So it really works like our own internal Amazon.
Right. Are there any particular items that are more surplus than others? I mean, typically?
Yeah, I mean, your basic items that come with any employee, you know, a desk, a chair, a filing cabinet. Fred's List right now actually has over 500 unique items on it. But it's been around since 2015, so it's kind of like your house. You accumulate stuff over time.
Right.
But it's got a lot of variety on there. It's got, you know, specialty items on there too that, you know, departments don't use every day, and we don't need a lot of in the county. Maybe we need a set or two of folding chairs for events, for instance.
Right. And now there's something about compliance. You sent me an email one day that said to talk about making sure that we ensure compliance in how property is disposed. What did you mean by that?
Yeah. So we like to talk about the law in local government. So there's a law in North Carolina that says that governments cannot throw away or dispose of personal property or property in general without the approval of the governing board unless it's a danger to public health or safety or has no value.
Right.
So in General Services, we're focused on the no value piece because, again, we look at property on an organizational level, not by department. So it's sort of like, one man's trash, another man's treasure type of approach, right? What has no value to one department might have value to another. And that's what Fred's List does, is sort of connect those things together so the larger organization can establish and meet that metric in the law.
Okay, now earlier I was asking about, can the public get this? And you said, no, this is kind of an interdepartmental thing. So the viewers are watching and say, well, wait a minute, why are we talking about this if I can't buy the desk, or if I can't buy the chair? But the fact is, you also mentioned to me off camera that this system that you've got helps the folks at home. How is that?
It does. Well, I mean, that's the goal, right? To produce a return on investment and to be efficient with taxpayers' money, because that's what funds the county. That's what ultimately buys these things. We found by repurposing items within the organization, we decrease or eliminate duplicative orders. So again, going back to our previous example, let's say, public health has an employee or a position that's vacant. They don't need anymore. It gets, cut out of the budget. Conversely, you have finance has a position get added. So now you've got public health that might have a desk, a chair, and a filing cabinet they don't have a need for, but you got finance that's getting ready to head out to Office Max to buy those things.
Right.
Now they don't have to.
Yeah, and as a taxpayer, that's good for me, because you guys are not wasting money by buying an extra, a desk set or something that you don't need, because it could be repurposed.
That's right. That's the return on investment. And so far, it's got a couple of positions that work with this system, and the return on investment essentially pays for those positions.
Right, I got you. That's pretty cool. That it's efficient and it saves the taxpayers money, and I appreciate what you're doing with that.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
All right, when we come back, more on Forsyth County Connections.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
So, I keep hearing how things are getting back to normal. Really? When am I back to normal? What is normal anyway? I can't even remember. Is this normal? Seriously? No. Was this ever normal? Please. I think this used to be normal. Then I figured out, just stop it. So much has changed. No wonder nothing feels normal. But here I am, still standing, a brand new edition of me. This is no time to go back to anything. It's time to go forward and discover the new person I am now. I'm all in. For some great tips on finding your new normal, visit yourlifeyourvoice.org. You look familiar.
Right now on Forsyth County Connections, and continuing to come to you here from the Forsyth County School Cable 2 studio. We thank them for that. My guest now is someone who sent me an email one day and said, we have this aquatics center. I didn't know about that, so I wanted to learn about it. With me right now, Alex Bennett, Parks Program Manager for the County of Forsyth. Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for having me.
Been hearing about this, seriously, I've been hearing about this aquatics facility at Tanglewood Park in Clemens. Now tell me about it and what it offers. Give me the scoop.
So the Peter S. Brunstetter Aquatic Center, it's in Clemens, North Carolina at Tanglewood Park. It's the only aquatics facility that's operated by Forsyth County Parks and Recreation. The other public pools are operated by other local municipalities.
Right.
This facility has got 4 sections with bodies of water for everybody to enjoy. It's got splash pad, playground.
You talking about bodies of, you talking about bodies of water? Are we talking about pools, ponds? What are you talking about?
So we got a splash pad playground with no body of water, but a lot of spray features. We have a 0 depth entry pool with water features that's ADA accessible. We also have a main pool that goes from 5 feet deep to 10 feet deep with some diving boards and slides, as well as a tubing river that has a set of slides as well.
Wow, tubing river, that's fun. That's pretty neat. Now, I know it's a stupid question, but I'm guessing that what you have there is for people of all ages, is that right?
Yes, sir, and we see people from, 1-year-olds coming with their families, and then grandparents bringing them all the way up to, senior citizens coming out to enjoy the facility. So anything and everything in between.
I just think that's great. Now, when let's say families come out and they say, we're going to make a day of it. We're going to go out to the aquatics center, and we've got all this great stuff we can do. But you know how families are when they pack up and get ready to go somewhere. Well, let's make some sandwiches, let's have some drinks or whatever. What am I allowed to bring into the park, and what am I allowed not, or what am I not allowed to bring in? Sort of help me break that down so that we don't, you know, confuse anybody.
Absolutely, yeah, we do limit what we can bring in the facility so we can keep it clean, safe for everybody. Pretty much prepackaged snacks and drinks that are closable we do allow in, any baby formula or bottled water, things of that nature. If people plan to bring full-fledged lunches and things like that, we ask them that they eat outside of the facility. That way we can keep it clean. Once they do pay the general admission fee, they get a wristband that allows them to go in and out throughout the day.
Got it. Neil, I'll ask you about the fee too in just a second, but before I forget this, now what about in terms of refreshments and whatever? Now, are things sold out there where you can get refreshments?
Yes, sir. So we do have a concession stand that sells bottled water, sodas, ice cream, hot dogs, things of that nature.
But I can't bring in any kind of beverage?
Correct. You can bring in bottled water
Bottled
or
water.
Gatorade, things
No
of that
alcoholic?
nature. Correct. No
Okay.
alcoholic beverage. Yes, sir.
By the way, you talk about all these places where people can enjoy the water. Are there lifeguards on duty?
Yes, sir. The amount of lifeguards varies, but roughly 10 to 15 guards a day through a third-party vendor, just to make sure we have a safe environment for everybody to enjoy.
When is the facility open? When is it closed?
So traditional operational year, the Saturday before Memorial Day. This year, that's May 28th, all the way until Labor Day Monday, which is September 5th.
Now, you mentioned the fee a minute ago. What's the fee? How much does it cost to get in?
So general admission is $8. We do offer a $1 discount for children ages 3 to 5, and as well as senior citizens 55 ages and up. Children who are 2 and under are admitted for free.
Now, not to be a downer or anything, but let's say I'm out there with my family and it's a beautiful day, but all of a sudden here comes a lightning storm. Now, obviously, you don't want to be in any kind of water when there's a lightning storm, rainstorm. Do I get a rain check at that point or what?
Yes, sir. We do have a rain pass policy based on the time of the closure. If we do have a closure due to inclement weather prior to 4 p.m., we do allow people to have rain passes to come back. Obviously, if the storm passes, we reopen the facility and let everybody come back in.
Now, is there a website or something people can go to find out more in-depth information that maybe you and I didn't cover, or just learn more about the aquatics? So what is that? What would
Absolutely. So if you go to the Parks and Rec website, www.forsyth.cc/parks, click on Tanglewood Park, and then there's a swimming icon on the right-hand side.
I used to consider myself a swimming icon, but that was a whole different, you know, I can't hardly swim. All right, look, I want to thank you for doing this. I appreciate everything. And speaking of websites and stuff, you've been seeing this monitor behind us and in front of us. You can go to connectwith.forsythcountync.gov anytime you want to learn more information. But I also want to say thanks to all the crew who works on this program. Of course, TJ James has been doing our directing here at Cable 2, and Kevin Wren is here helping out as well. And of course, Tracy Doyle oversees and puts everything together for this show. We appreciate his help. And of course, our executive producer, County Manager Doug Wise. So we appreciate all that. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you on the next edition of Forsyth County Connections.